The baddest man on the planet, 7 reasons why Mike Tyson reigns supreme. Welcome to the channel, folks. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the one and only Mike Tyson, arguably the most ferocious, most exciting heavyweight boxer to ever step foot in the ring. This wasn't your average champ, man. This dude was a different beast entirely. We're talking raw power, lightning speed, and a presence that could intimidate a grizzly bear. Stick around as we break down the 7 key reasons why Iron Mike wasn't just a champion, but a force of nature. Chapter 1. The left hook that shook the world. Mike Tyson's explosive power. Alright, let's talk about the obvious. The man's power. We're not just talking about heavy hands, we're talking about fight-ending, career-altering, did you see that? Kind of power. Tyson's punches didn't just connect, they detonated. Guys went down and they went down hard. It was like he was channeling some primal force, something out of a freaking comic book. You could see the fear in his opponent's eyes, man. They knew one good shot could be a wrap. And that's not even getting into the speed behind those punches. We'll get to that later. But seriously, go back and watch some of his knockouts. The way he threw those punches, the torque, the sheer violence, it's mesmerizing. You just don't see that kind of power every day, especially not in a guy built like a brick house. And it wasn't just the heavy bag he was destroying, this was pure raw power that translated into the ring, fight after fight. It's no wonder they called him the baddest man on the planet. Chapter 2. Float like a butterfly, sting like a Tyson lightning fast speed. Okay, so we've established that Mike Tyson hit like a runaway freight train. But here's the thing, the dude was fast, scary fast. For a heavyweight, his hand speed was almost unheard of. It was like he was defying the laws of physics. These big, powerful guys would be in the ring with him, thinking they had him figured out. And then bam! Tyson would unleash a combination so fast, you'd swear he was teleporting his fists. It was incredible to watch. He'd slip under their guard, pop them with an uppercut, and then boom, another one before they even knew what hit them. His opponents were constantly playing catch-up, always a step behind. That speed, combined with his power, made him practically unstoppable. It was like watching a panther toying with its prey. He'd stalk them, wait for the perfect opening, and then strike with blinding speed. It was a thing of beauty, man, a terrifying, awe-inspiring kind of beauty. Chapter 3. The Science of Destruction. Mike Tyson's peekaboo style. Now, a lot of people don't realize that there was a method to the madness. Tyson's fighting style wasn't just about brute force. It was a calculated, strategic approach honed over years of training with the legendary Cus D'Amato. They called it the peekaboo style, and it was a thing of beauty. Imagine this. Tyson's up in your face, bobbing and weaving, his gloves held high, almost covering his eyes. He's looking for an opening, a weakness to exploit. And then, in a flash, he'd explode out of that defensive shell, unleashing a flurry of punches from unpredictable angles. It was like he was playing a game of chess, only the pieces were fists and the board was a boxing ring. The peekaboo style allowed Tyson to get up close and personal with his opponents, using his speed and agility to slip past their defenses. And once he was inside, it was game over. He'd trap them against the ropes, unleashing a barrage of hooks and uppercuts that left them seeing stars. Chapter 4. The Intimidation Factor. Mike Tyson's mental warfare. Let's be real, folks. Stepping into the ring with Mike Tyson was about more than just physical ability. It was a test of mental fortitude, a challenge to one's very core. This was psychological warfare at its finest. Tyson didn't just fight with his fists, he fought with his mind. The man had an aura, a presence that could make grown men tremble. His very demeanor was a weapon, honed to perfection. He had this intensity in his eyes, this look that could send chills down your spine. It was as if he could see right through you, into your soul. It was like he was staring right through you, seeing your deepest fears. His gaze was unrelenting, a psychological assault. And then there was the intimidation factor. Tyson's presence alone was enough to shake the confidence of even the most seasoned fighters. Tyson would often try to get into his opponents' heads before the fight even started. He used every opportunity to assert his dominance. He'd stare them down during weigh-ins, refuse to touch gloves, and generally act like a man possessed. His behavior was calculated to instill fear, and generally act like a man possessed. He wanted them to know that he was coming for them, that he was relentless. He wanted them to know that he was coming for them, that he was going to break them. His determination was palpable, that he was going to break them, and more often than not, it worked. His psychological tactics were as effective as his physical ones, and more often than not, it worked. His opponents would come out hesitant, intimidated, and already defeated before the first bell even rang. His opponents would come out hesitant, intimidated, and already defeated before the first bell even rang. They were mentally broken, their confidence shattered. They say that boxing is 90% mental, and Tyson was a master of the mental game. He understood the power of the mind in the ring, and Tyson was a master of the mental game. He knew how to get inside his opponents' heads, how to exploit their weaknesses. He knew how to get inside his opponents' heads, how to break their spirit before the fight even began. His psychological prowess was unmatched. How to break their spirit before the fight even began. It was like he had this dark charisma, this animalistic energy that drew you in and terrified you at the same time. It was like he had this dark charisma, this animalistic energy that drew you in and terrified you at the same time. His presence was magnetic and menacing, this animalistic energy that drew you in and terrified you at the same time. He was a force of nature, man, and there was no escaping his presence. He was a force of nature, man, and there was no escaping his presence. In the ring, Tyson was more than a boxer. He was a psychological juggernaut, and there was no escaping his presence. His opponents knew that facing Tyson meant facing their own fears, and that was a battle many were not prepared to win. Chapter 5: The Making of a Champion. Mike Tyson's exceptional training discipline. You don't just wake up one day and become Mike Tyson. It takes years of dedication, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. From the moment he opened his eyes each morning, Tyson was on a mission. The man was a machine, a product of years of relentless training and dedication. His daily routine was grueling, designed to push his body to its absolute limits. His work ethic was legendary. He didn't just train hard, he trained smarter and more intensely than anyone else. He'd be up before dawn, running miles, hitting the gym, sparring for hours on end. His mornings were filled with long runs, often before the sun even rose, setting the tone for the rest of his day. He pushed himself to the absolute limit, day in and day out. There was no room for complacency. Every session was an opportunity to get better, to become stronger. And it wasn't just physical training. Tyson understood the importance of mental fortitude. He would spend time meditating, visualizing his success, and mentally preparing for the battles ahead. Tyson was also incredibly disciplined when it came to his diet and his sleep. He knew that what he put into his body was just as important as how he trained it. He knew that every aspect of his life contributed to his success in the ring. It was a holistic approach, balancing intense physical training with proper nutrition and rest. He was like a monk, a warrior monk dedicated to perfecting his craft. And it showed. His dedication was unwavering, his focus unbreakable. Tyson was always in incredible shape, with a physique that was both powerful and agile. His muscles were finely tuned, his movements precise and calculated. He was a finely tuned athlete, a testament to the power of hard work and dedication. Every muscle, every movement was a result of countless hours of training. He wasn't born a champion, he made himself into one. Through sheer willpower and an unrelenting drive, he transformed himself into a force to be reckoned with. And that's what separated him from the rest. While others might have had talent, Tyson had an unmatched work ethic and a relentless pursuit of greatness. He was willing to put in the work, to make the sacrifices that others wouldn't. He gave up the comforts and distractions that could derail his focus. He was obsessed with becoming the best, and that obsession drove him to greatness. It was this singular focus, this burning desire to be the best, that made Mike Tyson a legend in the world of boxing. Chapter 6: The Unpredictable Arsenal, Mike Tyson's Punch Combinations. Here's the thing about Tyson. He wasn't just a one-trick pony. Yeah, he had that devastating left hook, but he was also a master of combinations. He'd come at you with a flurry of punches, each one thrown with precision and power. It was like trying to dodge bullets in a phone booth. He'd start with a jab to the body, then come upstairs with a right hook, followed by a left hook to the liver. And just when you thought he was done, he'd unleash another combination even faster and more powerful than the last. It was relentless, man. His opponents never knew what hit them. They'd be so focused on blocking one punch that they'd walk right into another. And that's what made him so dangerous. He was unpredictable. He could knock you out with either hand, from any angle. He was a master of his craft, and he used his entire arsenal to dismantle his opponents. It was like watching a surgeon operate, only instead of a scalpel, he was using his fists. Chapter 7: Born to Fight. Mike Tyson's raw aggression and killer instinct. Look, you can't talk about Mike Tyson without talking about his aggression. It's the very essence of what made him a legend in the boxing world. The man was a beast in the ring. His punches were like sledgehammers, each one thrown with the intent to end the fight. He had this primal rage, this killer instinct that was both terrifying and exhilarating to watch. It was as if he channeled all his life's struggles and pain into every punch. From the opening bell, he was on the attack, stalking his opponents like a predator. His movements were calculated, his eyes always locked on his target. He wanted to finish the fight, to impose his will on his opponent. There was no hesitation, no second guessing, just pure, unadulterated aggression, and he did it with a ferocity that was unmatched. His combinations were relentless, leaving his opponents with little room to breathe. He'd trap them against the ropes, unleashing a barrage of punches that left them battered and bruised. It was a display of sheer dominance. He wasn't content with just winning. He wanted to dominate. He wanted to leave no doubt in anyone's mind who the superior fighter was, and that's what made him so exciting to watch. Every fight was a spectacle, a showcase of raw power and unyielding determination. He was a throwback to the gladiators of old, fighting with a raw, unbridled intensity that was captivating. His presence in the ring was magnetic, drawing fans from all walks of life. He was a force of nature, and when he stepped into the ring, you knew you were in for a show. His fights were events, moments in time that fans would remember forever. He was must-see TV, a global icon who transcended the sport of boxing. His influence reached beyond the ring, making him a household name. He was Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet, and there will never be another one like him. His legacy is etched in the annals of boxing history, a testament to his unparalleled ferocity and skill. Outro: the legend of Mike Tyson. So there you have it, folks. 7 reasons why Mike Tyson dominated the boxing world. He was a once-in-a-lifetime athlete, a combination of power, speed, skill, and raw aggression that we may never see again. He was a global icon, a cultural phenomenon who transcended the sport of boxing. Love him or hate him, you couldn't deny his impact. He was Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet, and his legend will live on forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content on legendary athletes and their incredible stories. See you next time.